Morning, everybody. Welcome back to yet another adventure. If you watched my last video, I did sections 3 through 6 of the New Mexico BDR, and at the end of that video I mentioned I would be doing sections 7 and 8, the last two sections, later in the summer. Well, that time has come, and here I am at the beginning of section 7. I just left Cuba, New Mexico, gassed up there, and I'm headed now into the Santa Fe National Forest west. I'll pass through the Jemez Mountains in the Santa Fe National Forest, see Lake Abiquiu, and then we'll get into the Carson National Forest, which is kind of the big central northern mountain range of New Mexico. It's my turn. This section of the BDR from Cuba has changed, by the way, since the last time I've been on here. This is a totally different entrance into Jemez Mountains, so that's kind of neat. It's not muddy yet. That's good news. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, this entrance into the Jemez Mountains, coming from Cuba, the beginning of Section 7, has changed since I did it 2 years ago. And it's a welcome change because it's dirt already, and before it was paved for a little while. It's still a beautiful ride, but this is looking pretty incredible so far. One other thing I'll mention is that when I did this ride 2 years ago, I was on the Himalayan. I was by myself, so I skipped the advanced section. It's called Comanche Canyon. So my plan is to do that section on the Tenere. And that will mean I will have completed the entire New Mexico BDR on this bike, this 2023 Yamaha Tenere 700. And that will include all of the advanced sections as well. So kind of a fun little milestone for me and for this bike. Just hopefully the weather works out. Who knows what's been going on up Comanche Canyon as far as rain is concerned. Oh, this is way better. This is a great adaptation to the BDR. This area of the Jemez Mountains is wildly popular for off-road use, camping, fishing, you name it. Extensive network of trails and forest roads. Water, abundant water, lakes and rivers. I think some people think of New Mexico as a dry desert, and it certainly is that. But we also have some incredibly beautiful and large mountain ranges as well. Alright, I think I'm gonna stop and make some adjustments and get my rain gear quickly accessible. Alright. The adventure began. Oh my goodness. This is what New Mexico Section 7 is all about. Great views as far as you can see. coming up on Lake Abiquiu now. And I don't know much about this lake. I imagine it's not natural, but it's still a beautiful place. I would like to do a camp someday on this lake. This is one of the spots I thought, if I have to change this trip because of weather, I might camp here. When I first did this BDR trip, I mentioned earlier that I didn't have a Garmin or any kind of GPS. I was doing all hand maps, and I was so confused here. I didn't realize that you literally go down there next to the river and ride next to the river, which is cool. But I had no idea, and so I kind of went back and forth for a while, and eventually I thought, well, I guess I'll just try it. And sure enough, this is the route. So yeah, this is just kind of a fun little area here that, I don't know, it's a bit surprising. It doesn't seem like you should be riding down here, but you should. It's kind of sandy and deserty back in here. Whew. Looks like it's been a little muddy in here. Woo! Yeah, washed out. What can you do? You gotta go around. The first time I came through here, I just rode forever, and I didn't even have any idea if I was on the right track. Basically, we're gonna meet with Highway 84 up here. There's a little town, can't remember the name of it. Gonna gas up there, and then we backtrack a little bit. Oh, it's Abiquiu, duh. And then we backtrack a little bit on 84 to do that advanced section. This is the part I haven't done yet. Right, the little town of Abiquiu. one gas station. That's all I need. Sure doesn't look very official. Look at that view. Wow. That looks tough.